Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're dimming the lights and diving into some chilling tales that have been whispered about all year. These aren't just urban legends. They're documented accounts from 2025 that defy easy explanation. We're going to explore two stories that have left investigators baffled and communities terrified. So, grab a blanket, make sure the doors are locked, and let's get into the first story, known as the case of the Hemlock House. In the quiet, unassuming suburbs of Cedar Grove, Illinois, there's a brand new housing development called Willow Creek Estates. It was marketed as the perfect place for young families, modern homes, safe streets, and a strong sense of community. The Hemlock House at 1428 Willow Creek Lane was one of the first to be sold. The buyers were the Chun family, Mark, Sarah, and their 7-year-old daughter, Lily. They moved in during the spring of 2025, thrilled to start a new chapter in their dream home. For the first few weeks, everything was idyllic. They unpacked, Lily made friends with the neighborhood kids, and Mark and Sarah enjoyed the peace and quiet. But then small, unsettling things started to happen. It began with misplaced items. Keys would vanish from the hook by the door, only to reappear in the freezer. Sarah's wedding ring, which she always left on her knitstand, was found inside one of Lily's dolls. They initially dismissed it as the chaos of moving into a new house, a symptom of being tired and disorganized. But the incidents grew more frequent and more bizarre. They hear faint whispers when no one was talking. The television would switch on by itself in the middle of the night, always tuned to a static-filled channel. Lily started talking about a new friend she'd made in the house, a boy she called the Shadow Boy. She said he liked to hide in her closet and would whisper stories to her after her parents put her to bed. Mark and Sarah grew concerned. They thought Lily was just having trouble adjusting, her imagination running wild. They tried explaining that it was just a new house with new sounds. But one evening, while putting Lily to bed, Sarah asked what the Shadow Boy looked like. Lily replied, "He doesn't have a face, Mommy, and he's always cold." That night, Sarah was woken up by a sound from the baby monitor, which they still kept in Lily's room out of habit. It wasn't Lily crying. It was a low, guttural whisper, a man's voice saying words she couldn't understand. She rushed to Lily's room and found her sleeping peacefully. But the room was freezing cold, despite the thermostat being set to a comfortable temperature. The closet door was slightly ajar. Things escalated dramatically from there. One afternoon, Sarah was in the kitchen when every single cabinet door flew open at once with a deafening bang. Dishes rattled and a glass flew off the counter, shattering on the floor. Terrified, she grabbed Lily and ran outside. Mark, a pragmatist, was still trying to find a logical explanation. Faulty wiring? A gas leak causing hallucinations? An elaborate prank? He installed a high-end security system with cameras covering every room in the house. The first night, the cameras captured nothing out of the ordinary. The second night, however, changed everything. While reviewing the footage the next morning, Mark watched in horror. The camera in the living room showed a dark, human-shaped shadow detaching itself from the wall around 3 a.m. It moved slowly, unnaturally, gliding across the floor. It didn't have legs, it just sort of flowed. It moved towards the camera, and for a split second, before the feed cut to static, the shadow seemed to look directly into the lens. In Lily's room, the footage was even more disturbing. The closet door creaked open on its own. A tall, slender figure, completely black and devoid of features, emerged and stood over Lily's bed for nearly an hour, just watching her sleep. The audio picked up the same low, whispering voice Sarah had heard on the baby monitor. That was the last straw. The Chuns packed a few bags and fled to a hotel. They contacted paranormal investigators, a local team with a decent reputation. The investigators conducted a thorough sweep of the house. Their equipment went haywire. EMF meters redlined in Lily's closet and in the living room. One of the investigators, a psychic medium, claimed to feel an overwhelming presence of anger and despair. She said the entity in the house was not human, that it was something ancient and malevolent that had been drawn to the new construction. She claimed it was feeding off the family's fear and had become particularly attached to Lily's innocent energy. The strangest part of the story, however, comes from the land's history. A local historian, intrigued by the case, did some digging. The Willow Creek Estates development was built on land that had been empty for over a century. Before that, in the late 1800s, it was the site of a secluded and controversial sanatorium. The facility was shut down after rumors of patient abuse and bizarre, ritualistic experiments conducted by its head doctor, a man who believed he could communicate with shadow entities. The sanatorium burned to the ground under mysterious circumstances, and the land was never used again until now. The Chuns never returned to the Hemlock House. They put it up for sale, but the story got out, and the house remains empty to this day. Neighbors still report seeing lights flicker in the windows and a tall, dark figure standing in the upstairs bedroom, watching the street below. Now, for our second story, we venture from the suburbs into the wild, untamed wilderness. This is the baffling disappearance of Julianne Croft in the Redwood National Park of Northern California. In August of 2025, Julianne, or Jules as her friends called her, was a 28-year-old experienced hiker and nature blogger. She had thousands of followers who loved her stunning photography and detailed trail guides. Her motto was "Leave no trace and let the trail teach you." She was meticulous, always over-prepared, and had hiked some of the most challenging terrains in the country. In late August, Jules set off on a 3-day solo hike through a lesser-known part of the Redwood Forest. She posted her planned route online, checked in with the park rangers, and had her GPS tracker, satellite phone, and a fully stocked pack. Her last social media post was a breathtaking photo of the sun filtering through the giant redwood canopy, with the caption, "Stepping into nature's cathedral." The silence here is a language all its own. See you all in 3 days. She was due back on a Sunday afternoon. When she didn't show up, her family immediately alerted the authorities. The search and rescue operation was massive. Rangers, volunteers, and canine units scoured the area. They followed her intended route precisely, but they found nothing. No footprints off the trail, no broken branches, no signs of a struggle. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. Her GPS tracker was the first major clue. It had worked perfectly for the first day and a half. It showed her following her planned route diligently. Then, suddenly, at 2:17 p.m. on the second day, the signal stopped. It didn't die or malfunction. It just ceased transmitting from a specific point deep within the forest, far from any cliffs or major water sources. The search team converged on that last known location. It was a small, unremarkable clearing surrounded by ancient trees. And there, in the center of the clearing, they found her backpack. It was neatly placed on the ground, zipped up. Inside, everything was in order. Her water bottle was full, her food rations were untouched, her sleeping bag was rolled up. Her satellite phone and the GPS tracker were inside, both powered on and functioning perfectly. There was no explanation for why they had stopped transmitting. Beside the backpack was her camera. This is where the story takes a truly disturbing turn. The investigators examined the camera's memory card, hoping for clues. The last few photos were taken in that very clearing. There were several shots of the trees, the ferns, the kind of content her followers loved. But the final 3 photos were different. The second to last photo was a selfie. Jules was looking into the camera, but her expression wasn't her usual bright smile. She looked confused, maybe a little frightened. Her eyes were wide, and she was looking slightly past the lens, as if something behind the camera had caught her attention. The very last photo was the most chilling. It was blurry, taken in a hurry, and pointed slightly upwards. It seemed to capture the dense canopy of the redwoods. But when the image was enhanced, analysts saw something that didn't belong. Tucked among the high branches, almost camouflaged, was a figure. It was long, impossibly thin, and pale. Its limbs were disproportionately long, and it appeared to be clinging to the tree trunks like an insect. It had no discernible features, but 2 large, dark spots were where its eyes should have been, and they seemed to be staring directly down at the camera. The photo was taken just moments before her GPS signal cut out. Theories ran wild. Was it an animal? No known animal in North America matches that description. Was it a person in a suit? The location was incredibly remote, and the way the figure was positioned high in the trees seemed to defy human capability. Local Native American lore from the Yurok and Tolowa tribes speaks of tree spirits or guardians of the deep forest, beings that are neither human nor animal and who do not take kindly to being disturbed or photographed. Some of these legends describe tall, pale beings that move silently through the canopy. The search for Julianne Croft continued for weeks but yielded nothing more. No body, no clothing, no further clues. It was as if the forest had swallowed her whole. Her blog remains active, a digital memorial frozen in time. Her last post, with its cheerful message, now reads like a haunting premonition. Her disappearance remains an open case, a modern mystery that serves as a stark reminder that even in our hyper-connected world, there are still places where the old rules don't apply, places where you can step off the path and never be seen again. These two cases from 2025, the Hemlock House and the disappearance of Julianne Croft, leave us with more questions than answers. They challenge our understanding of the world and remind us that some mysteries may never be solved. What do you think happened? Was the Hemlock House built on a portal to somewhere else? And what was that creature in the trees with jewels? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more dives into the unexplained. Stay safe out there.